From the moment you're born, there's one thing that is certain. You will die. What is not certain is how and when, and that's what I want to talk about. This is the current US president, shaking hands with air. Twice. And this is him completely forgetting that he already shook this man's hand only a few seconds ago. You're probably wondering why I'm showing you this. Well, I strongly believe that this old man is experiencing serious physical and mental decline. And for the longest time, I actually thought this was just what happens as you get old. But the truth is, we all have a choice as we age. Tired, forgetful, and confused, or not. This isn't me saying you need to be a bodybuilder. But there is a clear difference in the state of these two elderly men, and if I was a gambling man, then I'd wager that there's one major thing to thank for that. See, there's this thing I've been looking into. People have been doing it for a long time, and it's one of the biggest reasons we've survived until modern day. Civilizations throughout history have all written about this mystical medicine that prevents sickness and makes you physically stronger. It didn't matter if you were young. It didn't matter if you were old. It didn't matter if you were rich or poor, man or woman. Anyone who took this mythical drug would suddenly also feel happier, more focused, and full of energy. So what is this ancient medicine I'm talking about? Exercise. I know, that is not what anyone wanted to hear. But trust me when I say there's more to this regular ass boring activity than most people think. I used to think exercise was all about competition, entertainment, and this. But what if I told you that for over 2,500 years, that had absolutely nothing to do with exercise or how we were meant to learn it? Remember in school how you learnt about physical education? Let me guess, you learned how to play sport, right? How to work together, compromise, communicate.
Your mom's a whore. What? What?
Don't get me wrong, they're all great skills to have, but nothing to do with physical education as it was meant to be taught. What you were supposed to learn was ancient knowledge passed down for 2,500 years. Knowledge that would have taught you how exercise keeps you healthy, literally making both your brain and body grow in size, allowing them to function at their peak. You would have learned that for 2,500 years, we used exercise to prevent disease instead of cure it after it's already infected us. And you would have learned all of this from a qualified physician. Instead, the invention of basketball in 1891 combined with the rise in popularity of sport eventually led to qualified physicians being replaced by unqualified sports coaches in every school and college gym. Naturally, physical education turned into physical performance, and just like that, 2.5 millennia of ancient exercise wisdom was drowned out by an insatiable urge to win. But we're about to change that. This all began with one simple question. But what I found was a much deeper history of a forgotten medicine. And after all the research, I've come to realize that exercise is essential to the human condition. I'm not just talking about living longer. I'm talking about living stronger, happier, and healthier. So, if you thought exercise was just for athletes and gym junkies, then I urge you to keep watching, because this human cheat code is for everybody. But I made this for you.
Wiggle your big toe.
It's gonna take a little more effort than that. Okay, let's go. In everyday life, you face the chance of death from anything. Cancer, dementia, stroke, suicide, gunshot, car crash, plane crash, whatever. This is what we refer to as the risk for all-cause mortality and represents how long you're likely to live. For example, if you're a regular smoker, then your risk for all-cause mortality is increased by 40%. What that actually means is that at any given moment, whether you're at work, on the street, or sleeping in bed, you have a 40% higher chance of dying by any means than if you didn't smoke. So why is this important? Well, it turns out that the more physically fit you are, the lower your risk of all-cause mortality. To be more specific, if you're unfit, I don't mean fat or obese, but physically unfit from lack of exercise, then simply getting your fitness level up to just above average would make you 300% less likely to die at any given moment. And the best part is, I can tell you how to get there with only 30 minutes of exercise 3 times a week. But first, we need to learn how it affects the brain and body. During exercise, the chemicals dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine get released into the brain. I'm not going to explain the entire function of each chemical, but just know that together they make you feel happier, more focused, less stressed, and less anxious. I feel like I need to tell you that I'm grossly underselling and oversimplifying everything here, but if you work out, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. BDNF, which stands for Brain-Derived Neurotrophic Factor, is a protein also released in the brain. It improves your memory, your mood, and your ability to learn new things. But I'd say the most amazing thing is its insane ability to create new brain cells, which is a process called neurogenesis. Without it, your brain slowly dies.
Helmut Klein was an executive at a bank in Berlin. He has a particularly severe form of dementia that can strike people as young as 50. Often it leads to death within 5 to 8 years.
Imagine forgetting how to brush your teeth, or how to eat. So if you're feeling stressed, anxious, or depressed, exercise. If you want to improve your focus, memory, and learning, exercise. And if you want to protect your brain from disease and decline, then I have a 30-minute exercise for everyone. But there is just one last thing we need to discuss for everything to make sense. You probably already know that you breathe air in because you need oxygen to live. Well, you need that oxygen because it gets absorbed into your bloodstream via your lungs. The oxygen-enriched blood then travels back to the heart where it gets pumped out to the rest of your body for energy. The stronger your heart, the more efficient you are at delivering oxygen to your muscles and the more oxygen you can use per minute. This can be calculated as a number which we refer to as your VO2 max. Volume, oxygen, maximum. If all of that was a little confusing, then just remember this. The reason you want to know your VO2 max is because it's a direct measure of your level of fitness. And if you remember from before, the higher your fitness, the lower your risk for all-cause mortality. Thus, increasing your VO2 max decreases your risk of death. And the way we can best achieve this is through high-intensity exercise. First, you'll need to measure your VO2 max, which you can do by using any free calculator online. Once you have that number, use this table to get an idea of where you stand, then aim for above average to elite level fitness, depending on the results you want. A way to achieve this is using the 4-on 4-off method. 4 minutes of high intensity exercise like running, cycling, or preferably circuit training, then resting for 4 minutes, and repeating this cycle 4 times per session, 3 times a week. The aim is to set the pace so that you're suffering for the final 90 seconds of every 4 minutes. The more often you do this, the higher your VO2 max, and consequently, the lower your risk of death. But there is a catch. You cannot stop exercising, because the moment you do, the benefits slowly reverse, whether you're 30 or 80. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and share this with anyone that needs it.